Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to the second part of today's Cardfight news update video. Now, if you haven't seen the first part of today's video, that link's on top. You need to watch that video before you can understand what I'm gonna refer in this video, because I'm not gonna explain the news that I already talked in that video. This is basically to explain what I missed, or maybe something that I presented wrongly in the first video. So let's give some more details to all the news that we saw earlier today. Now, regarding the news for the new encounter cards, Kitamori explained that these cards will be very rare. These aren't going to be a standard thing in boosters following set 2. It also is shown in the slide that the next time they're gonna create any of these special encounter cards won't be earlier than March of 2022. So after set 2, with Overlord and Phantom Blaster Dragon and Nahal and whatever other cards we're going to see, that's it for the coming 9-ish months, if not more. But as seen as set 2 will introduce 2 new ride lines, it is possible that Phantom Blaster Dragon as well as Dragonic Overlord are those specific ride lines, as Nahalem is also returning. So we might see Bar and Conroe return, and Phantom Blaster Dragon that can be Blaster Javelin as well as Blaster Dark. So we might see those as well in this particular set, but that's just pure speculation at this point. Now, another thing that I need to clarify about these encounter cards is that I originally said that they could be used in V Premium, as Bushro translated that for the English slide, but you can't. These are going to be useful for Overdress and for actual premium. But the reason why they specifically stated premium is because these cards will have a nation system as well as a clan system. So Dragonic Overlord can be used in Dragon Empire for Overdress, but can only be used in Kagero for premium, and it's printed on the card, so you won't have that mishap. And this will also apply to Phantom Blaster Dragon, but then for Shell Paladin and for any future encounter card we might see from this point onward. And finally, one more thing that I need to address and bring home: the date card on the new cards from set 2 onwards, that we see the year date on them, it is nothing to do with a set rotation. They stated on the sheets themselves, as well as that Kitamori himself during the presentation said that it has nothing to do with rotation, and they aren't planning to do anything like that. They even said that at the beginning of Overdress that they're going to work their best to never rotate again. So it would be weird to suddenly do it out of nowhere right on set 2. So don't worry, there's nothing to worry about, and this is just extra information they want to print on the card. Now, one thing that I misinformed a little bit in the previous video is that when I looked at the calendar for the next coming month, I accidentally said that we're gonna get set 3, the Lyrical Monasterio set, in September. But that's not the case, because the trial deck as well as the set for Lyrical Monasterio will be on the same date, as that is going to be in August. The set 3 that's being released in September is actually just generically the set 3 itself, main booster set 3, because Lyrical Monasterio isn't set 3. Lyrical Monasterio is its own type of booster, as that is the Lyrical booster. Now, interesting enough, as we can see in the kanji for set 3 as well as set 4 at the end of this year, they are referring to the 5 nations. So it's looking to be that the 5 main nations are going to be in the regular boosters, and that Lyrical Monasterio might get its own booster. That's kind of interesting, but also kind of weird, because they explained that they went to a nation system, so they can now support every nation at the same time, as it's easier to do. But now they don't, because of the way that they're doing it right now. Now, I can understand it for the first couple of sets, because Lyrical Monasterio will have 120 plus cards right at the gate, so they are way ahead of all the other nations. But maybe it's going to be the standard going forward, or starting next year, we're going to see Lyrical Monasterio adding on top of the regular booster. It's just a guessing game at this point, because we can only see until December this year. But now we get to the interesting part, because now we get back to the clan selection set itself, as we skipped over a lot of information. Not only did I forget something that was already present in the presentation itself, but right after I made that video, we found out that on the Bushro website itself, they already showcased even more information for V Clan Selection Volume 1 and Volume 2. So let's go over that information a little fast, as it's a nice extra addition to know. Now, one thing I forgot to clarify is that from the 4 new cards that we're going to get per clan, One of them is going to be a heal trigger with an effect. So every single clan is going to get an effect heal trigger. What that's going to be, we don't know. The thing that we do know is that we're going to learn about these heal triggers on May the 25th. So in about 2 weeks, we're going to learn the effects of these heal triggers. So it's going to be interesting to see what they are going to come up with. Now, as the extra information, we know a couple of more units as well as some of the heal trigger artworks for both sets. Because for V Clan Selection Volume 1, we now also know that Himiko is going to be printed for Genesis and Vowing Sword Dragon is going to be printed for Narukami, or should I say Eradicator Vowing Sword Dragon. We also see once again Jirafa, but we already saw Jirafa on the poster artwork with Thing Saver as well as a new Bermuda Triangle unit. Now, we also see a brand new unit for Murakumo, which is called Nura Hyoga, and what this card is going to do, no clue. It's a brand new card, but I do love the artwork on this one because it's an amalgamation of all the different Hyomas that you can see in folklore for Japan. So this could be really sick if the skills match a little bit to the artwork itself. But on top of that, we also know the artwork for some of the heal triggers because we see the artwork for the Oracle Think Tank heal, the Kagero heal, Dimension Police heal, as well as the Pale Moon heal. Interesting enough, the Pale Moon one is apparently a Nightmare Doll, so that could interact with the Nightmare Doll engine. And also, I was speculating that hopefully they're going to do this, but now they confirmed that they're going to reprint the Great Free Searchers in the Clan Selection set itself. And on top of that, we also going to get 1 SP per box. So the same treatment that we got for the very first set for Overdress is going to be the same case for the V Clan Selection plus Volume 1 and Volume 2 set, which is nice because there's more incentive to actually buy a box, because I think they're going to go with the same treatment that you're going to get 1 copy of every single card in a box, but they don't confirm it, I believe. But at the very least, we're going to get 1 SP per set, but hopefully we're also going to get 1 copy of every single card per box. But we have to wait and see until more information is revealed. Now, as for Volume 2, we know that Ramiel as well as Chat Noir is going to be printed for Ancient Feathers and Great Nature respectively, but we also see a brand new unit for Nubatama, and that's going to be Daihosen. Once again, artwork looks pretty sick, so I cannot wait to see the actual skills on these new units. Now, as for the heals that we saw, we see the heal trigger for Tachikaze, Link Joker, Gear Chronicle, and Grand Blue. The Gear Chronicle one looks pretty sick, but it saddens me the fact that I probably have to replace Uluru because this is going to be a better heal trigger as it has a skill. But it still sads me even though the artwork on this Gear Dragon looks pretty sick. And that basically wraps up all the information that I missed or conveyed a bit wrongly with the previous video. So I should have rectified every single thing. So again, if you don't understand what I'm talking about right now, or you're missing certain parts, go back to the previous video. Link once again is links on top as well as in the description down below so you can see that. Now, with all these extra reveals for Clan Selection, or should I say V Clan Selection, it makes the prospect of the theme booster that I came up with. I'm talking about this particular video where I talked about the idea of theme boosters, and in that video I pitched an idea for a theme booster and a set idea, which I personally would love to see, but to make that work, there were a couple of prerequisites and certain cards that need to be printed before that set could actually be a thing. If you haven't watched that video, go watch it because I'm not going to explain the whole schmick again and that idea itself. That said, the fact that Hamiel as well as Vowing Sword Dragon is going to be printed in this set makes it a lot more plausible. The only other card now that we're missing is Maiden of Venus Trap. And yes, we have the Musketeers for Neo Nectar, but they might be able to print that as an extra support card within those duo of the Legion itself. It is possible, and if they do it, oh boy, will it make my concept a lot more plausible. I would lose my mind if I actually called that stuff and it happens next year. Maybe things will work out, maybe they don't. It is funny to see that things are starting to fall in place, if you understand what I'm referring to here. But with that said, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of these extra additions. What do you think of the new information that we got for Clan Selection plus Volume 1 or Volume 2? Or I should say V Clan Selection. The name is kind of annoying if I'm going to be very honest. But let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. And again, if I missed any extra information or I put something wrong here, put it in the comments down below, and I will rectify it in the pinned comment to make sure that everybody is informed. But the most important thing to take away from here is that no, the numbers on the card, the year number, doesn't mean we're gonna get a set rotation. The encounter cards are rare and aren't going to be a staple thing in booster sets going forward. It's gonna be maybe a once a year thing, maybe even less. And yes, V collection is still a thing, and it looks to be a very awesome set. But with that said, I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters over at patreon.com. You guys are amazing. If you do want to support the channel or everything that's happening on the channel, you can simply go to patreon.com/VanguardInsider and become a Patreon today. But with that said, I'm Mr. Time Leap, and I'll see you guys in the next one.